In this episode of Talking About Orks, we're going to reevaluate the Freebooterz clan culture. Most people, and myself included, kind of dismiss this as a gimmick, not very good, basically useless, when this book was released, but I don't think that's the case anymore. And the main reason for that is that there was a freebooter list that went 4-1, was it 5-1 at a large tournament. It wasn't like a large notoriety tournament, but just with a large number of people. It was the only to Inari, I think, Inari Dark Eldar. And the reason why is you build the list around the culture to get that benefit. So the clan cultures for Freebooterz competitive streak add 1 to hit rolls for the attacks made by models with this culture if any other friendly unit with this culture within 24 inches has destroyed an enemy unit this phase, and that was errated to our fact as well. If a Freebooterz unit comprised entirely of corruption destroys an enemy unit in a phase, do other friendly units within 24 inches that have competitive culture streak add 1 to their hit rolls? Yes, unless that friendly unit is also comprising entirely of corruption. This is an important fact, because that means mech guns can trigger the ability. They don't benefit from the clan culture, but they can trigger it for everyone else, which is extremely important. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the list as it was played and evaluate if that's something that's viable for other people to play. I know I'm going to give it a try, even though I only own 1 Morkonaut, so I don't actually own 2 of them. And the list does require 2. But we'll take a look at the list and the tactics used, because I like this list and I like the culture because A, it gives you a lot of benefit, and 2, it is going to be very challenging to play because you're going to have to carefully choose your targets in order for everything to work out right. Plus positioning with that 24, you have to be within 24 inches for it to matter, so positioning also matters. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the whiteboard here and we'll take a look at the list itself and go from there. So here's the list, and you probably won't be able to read too much of it, so we'll just kind of go over it here as we can. So starting with a battalion detachment, we have 1 HQ being a big mech on bike with a custom force field and a custom Mega Blaster, because if you get the +1 to hit, why not? Warboss and Warbike with the Killer Claw. Now, this is not going to be the Warlord, so you're not going to get the Riddle But Cunning or whatever, whichever gore trait is, so you're not going to get the extra damage. You're not going to get the rerolls to wound or rerolls to hit. But that also means you can sacrifice them a lot easier without having to worry about giving them that Warlord kill. 29 shooters. There's only 29 because that's the points limit. It's basically, it would be 7 points over if you went with the full 30, so we're going 29. 2 units of Grots. You have an air wing detachment with 2 Daka Jets and the Waz Bomb with a custom force field. I love that combination. And 1 Spearhead detachment, which is also a Dread Mob from Villages Defiant. Big mech with SAG. You could get the Relic one if you want to spend the extra command point, but you don't have to. When this guy is your Warlord. A Weird Boy, 2 Gorkonauts, 6 mech guns, 3 Smasha, 3 Tractor in 1 unit. So that's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 drops, which isn't too bad at 2,000 points. And we're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to start with 9 command points after the Dread Mob detachment. And you go down to 8 if you wanted to get the Relic SAG, but you don't really have to. So what drives this list? So the idea here is to keep everything within 24 inches of each other, pop a unit, and then start shooting the crap out of things. Because it's not going to matter who kills the unit, who kills the first unit, because everyone's then going to benefit as long as you keep it in range. So especially with the flyers, you have to be well aware of where they are in relation to the Gorkanauts and the Sag mech. So to make sure that they both all get their +1 hit. And of course, being the Dread Mob, the Gorkanauts and the Big Mech with Sag can shoot again. You can use a stratagem where they can shoot a second time, and if they're hitting on 4s instead of 5s, that's not a bad deal. And also you should note the Gorkanauts don't lose weapon skill or ballistic skill as they go down. So even at 1 wound left, if you get the Freebooterz trait go off, they're still hitting on 4s. Shooting and possibly shooting twice if you have any command points left. That's a lot of DACA because the Gorkanauts just have incredible firepower. And if you can destroy a unit in close combat, even if they are down on wounds, you can still get +1 to hit in the close combat phase if something else has already died that phase. So that's the thing to remember, is that the +1 benefit is per phase. So you have to do it both in the shooting phase and in the close combat phase, which is what the War Boss with the Killer Claw is for. To try and kill something to proc everyone else's +1 to hit in the close combat phase. And you have weird boys to jump these boys. So they hopefully can get a proc as well, or proc the rest of the army. And of course, you're going to have endless unstoppable green tide to keep these things back. So if you're 9 remaining command points, you're going to have 1 unstoppable green tide for your boys, hopefully. Maybe 2 to keep them round. But if they're next to the War Boss on War Bike, it doesn't matter. You can just breaking heads them. Because in case they basically have to kill that whole unit down to every single model in that unit to have a chance. And again, you're also going to have the Big Mech on War Bike to follow them up after the jump. So hopefully they'll at least have their force field. So again, this is incredible amounts of pre-planning on your deployment, on your movement, to make this list work right. But really what's going to benefit the biggest from these, if you can get a proc off with something else, is the flyers. Of course, DACA jets are already hitting on 4s if they shoot all their weapons at 1 target. If you can get the proc off, that means they're hitting on 3s. And if you shoot at another model with the fly keyword, you can use long uncontrolled bursts, and now suddenly you have a DACA jet hitting on a 2+ with 18 shots. That is incredible, especially something like Dark Eldar flyers or Dark Eldar venoms. Even they're going to be -1 to hit anyway, probably -2. So at worst case, you're back to your normal BS. A 4-up. And against a Dark Eldar flyer or transport with 18 strength 6 shots, I'll take that all day, every day. And then the WAS bomb is your anti-vehicle, especially if it gets a +1 hit, because now you've got the Smash-A-Gun hitting on a 3, and it's the custom Mega Blasters, custom Mega Cannons it has, or the WAS bomb cannons, hitting on 4s. And that is a lot of strength 8, high AP, high damage shots at quality ballistic skill. And of course, it does have the super shooters as well, so you can also have a shot at killing other small units. So the mech guns are going to be used to finish off units, since they cannot benefit from the Freebooterz clan trait. What they can do, say you jump a unit of boys, you shoot a unit of guardsmen, and you leave 1 or 2 of them behind. Now you can use the mech guns to finish off that unit and proc everything else. So now you got your Gorkanauts hitting on 4s, your DACA jets hitting on 3s, the WAS bomb hitting on 3s and 4s, and even the SAG hitting on 4s. And again, these can't benefit, but if they're great, especially with the tractor cannons being able to auto hit, if there's 1 guardsman left, you tractor cannon the crap out of it, and now your clan culture has procced, giving everyone the benefit. But these right here, these 2, the DACA jets are probably the most important models, because they will be good at taking out units. So the first DACA jet can be used to kill a unit, and then it will allow everything else to proc around it, and you'll have force field on the WAS bomb to try and keep the DACA jets alive. And you've got the SAG mech, of course, to try and do some more heavy damage. Again, Orks shooting is designed to hit on 5s. and 6s. If there's a way you can increase that, then the volume of shooting suddenly becomes overwhelming. And because the volume of shots have been all, I mean, the Gorkonauts have an increased volume of shot, the Dakajets have their 18 shots hitting with quality. The shooter boys, you know, are going to be putting out 50 some odd shots, 60 shots. Everything is going to have quantity. But if you can get this Freebooterz thing to proc, you're going to have quality as well as the quantity. And that's going to be, or at least sounds in theory, to be absolutely amazing. But again, this is going to be a very difficult list to play because it's going to be all about positioning. It's going to be all about order, selecting which unit to shoot first and which unit to shoot at. And then always evaluating what your opponent is doing as far as where their placement is, where the models are, what things you need to kill to keep your stuff alive longer. This is not going to be an easy list to play, and that's why I'm really looking forward to it, because to be honest, most of the Ork stuff is pretty brainless. Like with my bike list, I move 32 inches the first turn. I shoot and charge something. I guess there's a choice on to which to charge or what to shoot, but even that isn't a huge deal. So this is what I'm talking about by reevaluating, by this book being just absolutely amazing. Yes, I do believe it is severely lacking as far as anti-meta goes, because to be honest, unless you tailor your list, you're not going to beat a Knight Heavy army almost every time. But my bike list, I love it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it is an amazing amount of fun to play. Putting those 12 bikes 32 inches up the board that first turn. But it's never going to beat Knights on any regular basis. Golf boys, that's a different story. They have a shot against Knights, but only a shot because of that extra strength. And Mooney on 5s and 6s is a big difference. Anyway. So this thing we're playing, again, this is a net list. Technically, I don't really play other people's lists. I've never really have before. So this is going to be a new experience for me playing someone else's list. And this is definitely going to be a new experience trying to win with this list because it's going to take some time. I just know it's going to take some time and a lot of practice to get this, to be able to be good enough for this list to win consistently. And, you know, that's fine. I'm looking forward to that kind of challenge. And I think you should too. So, once again, it's very important. Do not dismiss the Freebooterz clan culture, as I have, and most people have since the book was released. In theory, on paper, it sounds amazing. Again, because you're adding quality to the quantity of orc shooting. And that is something we've never had before. Any way to do it. This might be a trick. There's not, might be a tricky list to do it. And it might be the only way to do it. But the fact that we can do it at all is mind-blowing. So give this a try. Again, I'll put up a better list somewhere. And probably put it on my blog and put a link down below so you can read the actual list a little better. But give this a try, give the Freebooterz a try, get some shooting units on the table, and see what you can do. See if you can get this thing to proc and get that quality of shooting. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Orcs. Please subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications for new Talking About Orcs videos every Wednesday, new battle reports every Friday, and hobby videos whenever I can. Thanks for watching.